Welcome to Terror Town Talk with Coach Rocky Hidalgo. I'm your host, Dan Myers. Each week we're going to be recapping the previous Friday night's Red Terror football action and discussing our upcoming opponent. This week's show is brought to you by Peachtree Pest Control, Island Ace Hardware, and Sapelo Equipment Rental. If you'd like your business featured on Terror Town Talk, shoot Coach Rock an email at the email address below in the description. All right, let's jump into it. Coach Rock, how are you, sir?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right, as long as this doesn't fall on us again.
The backdrop doesn't get us.
So we ended last week with a tie.
Yes.
I didn't know you were such a soccer fan.
Yes. I've almost never watched a soccer game. I once had French toast and watched a World Cup game, but mostly focused on the French toast. But it was probably a French cup of coffee too. Yeah, it was an interesting experience. We were supposed to play overtime. I don't think the officials were aware of that. It was one of those things. We had the team ready to go. We talked to our kids. We were getting ready to run tape roads out for the coin flip, and tossed me the ball and said the game's over, there's no overtime, and the officials left the field, and that was kind of it. So everything has been resolved. We should have played, but I think it was a learning experience for everybody there, and next time I'll Indian wrestle the official to the ground and make him finish the game.
Fantastic. What were some of our big takeaways from this past week?
Takeaways were we got a lot to work on. We're going to have to play faster. McIntosh is a really good football team, and I'm not taking anything away from Coach Warren or his kids. They played really hard. Coach Warren's a good guy. I've known him for 20 plus years, and he does a great job preparing his kids to play ball. They showed up, played faster than we did. That's one of the things that when we took away from the game, they played faster than us. You don't see that happen very often. But part of that is because they returned about 14 or 15 starters. We returned 3 kids. We had a lot of kids who were out. We expected to play, who'd worked with us and changed some, that had practiced leading into the game and missed the game because of injury or COVID. I think that impacted us some way. I think looking back on it from a mentality standpoint, our coaching staff, and this is something we talked about, is that if this is what we want to do, we're going to get the ball out to Tyson Rooks and David Prince on the perimeter. We need to go ahead and do that. They lined up and played straight man to us. We're going to run Art Browse's offense. Art Browse is going to throw the ball 50 times in a game like that. And is that what we want to do? Is that what we want to be? We can't allow people to get in a +1 box against us. We have to find ways to get a hat on a hat in there, or we got to throw it out there to those guys. So, it's a learning curve really for our coaches going from being a triple option team to a team that's going to throw the ball a lot more. It's one of those things it's a mindset that we have to kind of get into as well.
Yes, sir. Speaking of throwing the ball around, talk about some of the work Tyler Devlin's put on this offseason.
Tyler he's our most pure passing quarterback we've had since we've been here, and this has been my 8th year. And he's a kid that has worked incredibly hard, and this is new for him. It's not, he has the ability to throw the ball, but this is really new for him. He hasn't done any of this stuff as well. People just think you go out and throw the ball. There's so much that goes into it. It starts obviously with the protection, the quarterback fundamentals, his footwork, his body being in the right place to, stick and throw the ball, because so much of these things are timed, timing routes with the wide receiver. So it requires a lot of work on the part of the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, the offensive line to do that. I think he's a guy that's worked incredibly hard with Coach Irby in the offseason, working on his footwork, working on his ball placement. I think you saw that Friday night. We left the Bainbridge scrimmage. We threw some balls out of bounds, some fade balls out of bounds against Bainbridge that we had a chance to complete for big plays. Friday night, he put those things in a bucket. So I think he's gotten better at those things. There's some things, there were a couple of times he probably should have thrown the ball. And he held it a little long and then got pressure, so we got to work on those things about recognizing when to throw the ball on time, when to duck and run. But I think he'll continue to improve with all of those things throughout the year, and he's a hard worker, being a conscientious kid. I think he's going to be really good over the next 2 seasons.
Yeah, it's always good to have a baseball player throwing the football back there.
I don't care who it is, as long as the quarterback has to make plays. I don't care what offense you run, whether it's a triple option offense, it's a passing offense. The quarterback has to make plays. If your quarterback doesn't make plays, you're playing with 10 guys. We've been very fortunate. We've had some great players, obviously DJ Dallas, Randon Jernigan, TJ Lewis, Zach Lamper, who've been able to make plays with their legs. Tyler's a guy that can do it with both, and we're excited by that.
Yeah, I saw an interesting stat. Every Hall of Fame quarterback besides Bradshaw was a high school baseball player.
Really?
Of the modern era. So,
interesting.
Something interesting to think about.
I'm curious is because if it has anything to do with playing the position or has everything to do with they're usually the best athletes in school, and those guys usually play multiple sports.
So what's some highlights we can talk about from the offensive side of the ball? You talked about Rooks and Prince out there lining up. I know we had a couple big plays. What are we going to see going forward that we're taking away from this McIntosh game?
Well, I think the big thing is, I think Zach Ellis continues to be a good player for us, and that's why, he can run the ball out of the backfield. We can give the ball on the perimeter on the jet sweep. We can get him the ball on the bubble, or we can throw the ball to him downtown. He's a kid that we have to continue to find ways to get the football to. Obviously, Tyson and Dayton Prince. I think Jordan Johnson comes back this week. He's another kid that has a chance to be a really good player for us out there on the perimeter. The big thing, the takeaway for us, I wouldn't say necessarily highlights, it was just our offensive line play. We were really inconsistent up there, kind of what I expected. We didn't finish blocks very well. We were slow with our feet, and we've got to get moving faster. And we had some opportunities for some big plays in the running game Friday night where we didn't take advantage of it because we didn't get to our space. Our angles weren't real good because there were a lot of times we went to block a guy where he was as opposed to understanding where he's going to flow, and we missed some guys. So I think all of those things are things we can improve on. They're coachable. We have good kids. They're very conscientious. They want to get better, and we'll continue to improve on that.
Yeah, most people don't realize how much thought goes into playing the offensive line. It's a tough position for those young guys to play.
People always talk about the skill positions, wide receiver, running back. Really and truly, offensive lineman is the most skilled position. It's the position that requires the most skill to play, the most fundamental position of all the probably offensive line and defensive backs. And people just think you put a big fat kid up there and you go to work. Well, that's not really how it works. I mean, kids have to move. They have to be able to move people. They have to move in different directions and think on the fly. There's so much that goes on down there that is dependent, that happens in a split second. And it requires time for guys to work together and play together.
Yes, sir. So to my favorite side of the ball, the defense. How did we look Friday night?
We did some good things. We did some bad things. I think part of it is we have to be more physical tacklers. We didn't tackle very well. I think we got a little tired. I think having some new guys in there at inside linebacker, and we'll have Devontae Lang back this week, I think that's going to help us. But all those guys are new with the exception of DJ Clinch, and so it's 10 new guys. And we look like a defense that had never played on a Friday night before. We're doing some good things, and we have some bad habits we have to break. Our fits on the ball have got to get better. We have to do a better job scraping from the inside linebacker position and getting downhill. If you don't get downhill at inside linebacker, you can't deliver a blow to the running back, and they end up falling forward. They're running forward. If you're not running forward when you tackle them, they can just break tackles and get 4 or 5 yards. That happened a little bit. We played a little too lateral at inside linebacker, and then sometimes we just didn't have very good patience on the ball. We outran the ball, and we got 2 or 3 guys outside of the football, which was good. Our effort was really good. And I felt like our effort was good everywhere Friday night. But we ended up with multiple guys outside the ball. Their back is a really good back. He stuck his foot in the ground and turned the ball up underneath us and would cram it in there and get 4 or 5 yards to move the change. So, I mean, those are things that we addressed with Coach Veal and our defensive staff. I think we've shown a history of being able to improve those things each game, each week. Hopefully this week's going to be no different. We'll come out one game better on Friday.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. We're going to take a pause now and take a message here from our sponsors.
Football coach Rocky Hidalgo of the Glen Academy Red Terrors. As a football coach, it's always nice to have a wide variety of tools to get the win on a Friday night. Running backs making plays, some big guys on the offensive line, and some nasty D linemen make the job a whole lot easier. Add some new tools to your team at Sapelo Equipment Company. Tractors, mowers, utility vehicles, construction, hay farm implements, and more. Make all of your jobs a whole lot easier by visiting the awesome folks at Sapelo Equipment Company. Go Terrors!
All right, welcome back. Coach, it's so important. We talked about it last week. I'm going to bring it up every week. Scout team's so important. We got Scout Team Player of the Week.
We got a really good effort from our guys last week, especially later in the week. A guy who's been consistent with us each week. Keziah Alston has been a kid who's on the offensive line, has gone out and played his tail out. Another guy is Cade Morgan, when those guys. But I think when we come through, it's one of the things we want to do each week, and we want to name a scout team player of the week. Those are two guys that I recognize on both sides of the football. Those guys have played on both sides of the football. The scout team on the offensive line and running back at linebacker, defensive line, and done a great job. So those two guys, we're going to honor those guys, and we'll have one every week that we can come in here and make sure, maybe try to take a picture and put his big ugly mug up here.
You don't want too many linemen's mugs on the camera. Oof, I'm bad enough. We've got Camden coming in the house. We got a new coach, a returning coach, Coach Herron, coming back. What can we expect to see out of them Friday night?
It's going to be interesting to see. I coached against Coach Herron a couple times, but it's been a while. Coach Herron is a diehard wing T guy, and obviously it's been very successful for him. They're going to be a 3-5-3 team on defense. They're going to get after you, lots of blitzing, lots of stunting. Their defense coordinator, John Lindsay, is one of the best coaches in the state. And Jeff has got a history. He's going to go in. He's going to have those guys stick their foot in the ground and run north-south and try to bang their head on the goalpost. I think one of the things you'll see from them fundamentally, they're going to be a hard-nosed, tough team, but they're trying to figure out a little bit. They're switching from more of a spread offense back to the wing tee, and I think you'll see them. They're going to continue to improve each week, play a little faster. They're a lot like us in some ways. They're trying to figure out the speed of the game a little bit because these things are all new to them as well. But I think they've got a great tradition down there. Their kids are going to show up. When I first got the job here, Coach Herron was moving up to Prince Avenue Christian, and he and I were talking on the phone a little bit. And he said one thing about Camden County kids: they'll hit anything that moves, and that's been the case for those guys for 30 years since I've been in the state of Georgia. Their kids will hit anything that moves.
Yeah, no fear there. Camden, last time I saw Coach Herron coach team, they had started running a little bit of a hurry-up wing tee.
Right.
We still going to see that now, getting over the ball quickly, letting the clock run down?
Well, I think they're going to get up. I think they're going to call the plays at the line of scrimmage. They want to see how the defense is going to align, and they're going to try to take advantage of that alignment. It's like anything else on any offense. Guys, they're different modes of thought. Some guys huddle up and they run up to the line of scrimmage so the defense doesn't get a good look at their formation. They try to snap the ball in a hurry. Other guys get on the line of scrimmage, they let the defense get aligned, and then they call the play based on how the defense is aligned. And then other teams are just, we want to call as many plays as fast as we can and get in this tempo and stress the defense. I think they're probably in the mode where they're going to line up, they're going to audible the call based on how the defense is aligned. And really, guys like Coach Herron and guys, wing T guys, they don't really care what the defense is doing. They're just going to run their play, and they feel confident in their system and how they've coached their kids. So it'll be a challenge for us. We're going to have to get lined up. We're going to have to signal some things from the sideline. We may have to double call some things on the defensive side. I'm not sure if we're ready for that. That's one of the things we have to see what we can handle, what we can't handle, because we're so inexperienced over there.
Yeah, with a young defense, you said you got one returning starter to face a wing tee, and so aggressive and so much change, and that's going to be a tough task this week. As most Georgia high school football fans know, Kickoff Classic kicks off the season, the Kickoff Classic up in Atlanta. Walton was in a heck of a game. Did you get to catch any of that?
I did not. I took Saturday's my day for spending time with my family, and they wanted to go to the beach. We went and sat on the beach. I was coming back. I didn't get a chance to see it. I saw the end of the game, the highlights of the end, but I did not watch a whole lot of football on Saturday. I kind of hung out with my wife and my kids.
Good for you. Good for you. Enjoy the family while you can. In a head scratching move, I know you were adamant about this on Twitter. Rush Probst, sorry guys. They brought him in to talk about the purity of high school football. What's your thoughts on
pretty
Rush?
Ironic, I would say, without saying anything to get me sued. I just think I don't think he's very representative of most of the coaches in this game. I heard from probably 20 or 30 guys, and I've coached in that game and been around the organizers of that game. I coached in that game probably 17, 18 times, 15, 16 times, give it or take. I know them very well. I spoke with them on Sunday morning about how upset I was that they gave him a voice down there. I don't think he should be. Frankly, I'm not sure he should be representative of Georgia high school football or high school athletics anywhere. And it's nothing personal to him, but I think he's made some decisions in his life, and obviously whether he's guilty or not guilty, I'm 25 years into this, and nobody's ever got me on tape asking for funny money and trying to pay players. So to me, I just don't think there's a lot of wiggle room in that. But I was disappointed in that, and it really is that because the Corky Kell that Saturday has become Georgia high school football. This is the second biggest day of the year outside the state championship games. And to run him out there and put him on was really disappointing for me.
I agree 100%. We're going to take a quick break now, get a message from our sponsors.
Hidalgo, the Glen Academy Red Terrors. Just like the quarterback, a person's home is their most valuable asset. We like to use the big uglies up front to keep the pests out of our backfield. And when it comes to my backyard, I trust Peachtree Pest Control. Termites, rodents, ants, and any other types of pests, Peachtree Pest Control tackles them all for you. Protect your house and all your pest control needs. Contact Peachtree Pest Control. Go Terrors! Being a homeowner, you're responsible for protecting your home turf, and there's a store right here in our backyard with all the tools to get the job done. Island Ace Hardware, right off Frederica Road. Whether you're working on your ground game, looking to air it out, or looking to smoke the competition, Island Ace has it all. Island Ace on St. Simon's Island is a proud partner of our 2019 Glen Academy Red Terrors football team.
All right, welcome back, Coach. Give us a quick recap of the Turkey Bowl this past week.
We were rained out right after halftime, or lightninged out. It was really competitive. The JVs were up. I think it was 20-0. The JV always wins the Turkey Bowl, always, and the freshmen leave the Turkey Bowl distraught because they've been destroyed by the JV. And in 25 years of doing this, the JV never loses that first game. They never do. They usually beat the eyes out of the ninth grade. The ninth grade team's upset about it. They'll get another chance to compete against each other. We kind of do that throughout the year as the year goes on. But it's one of those things. The JV's been up with us. They've been working with us for 2 years, 18 months longer in some cases than the ninth grade guys. They've been in the weight room. They're bigger and stronger. They're supposed to win. And they did. We had a really good performance over there. Tank actually played well at quarterback. Tristan Brown played well running back. I think our offensive line, we were kind of piecemeal on offensive line because we had some guys out. Coach Wright did a nice job of putting guys in position so that we can run some football plays and get downhill. We kick off JV season this week with Brunswick High versus our JV at Lanier Field on Thursday night at 5 o'clock. Our ninth grade team was supposed to play Brunswick's ninth grade. Because of COVID, Brunswick had to cancel that game. So they're going to get on a bus and go up to Richmond Hill Thursday and play Richmond Hill's, a combination of ninth grade and JV versus Richmond Hill. Richmond Hill's been hit hard kind of right now with COVID. They've got a lot of kids out with COVID contact. That's all dependent on making sure that our kids are staying safe and staying healthy. Our coaches are working their tails off to make sure that we don't have an outbreak here, and hopefully, God willing, that'll be the case. We'll get through this here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's always the dance now, isn't it?
Yes.
Trying to figure all that out. And
you never know.
Going back to the Turkey Bowl, which staff member ate the most chicken wings?
We didn't eat chicken wings. We ate hot dogs afterward. We had hot dogs, but I know Coach Wright. I think Coach Wright bought the entire offensive line chicken wings from 95 Wings. I appreciate those guys coming out and providing concessions, and those guys are they've been very, very helpful to us, and they fed our team the previous week. The last Thursday came out and fed them chicken sandwiches, and then came out and fed our fans, and a lot of our players got involved, and they're good guys. I really, really appreciate them being supportive.
Fantastic. Speaking of support, explain the Terror Card process to us.
Well, right now we for everybody out there, our Terror Cards are one of our biggest fundraisers every year, and it's a $20 discount card that we do. Our coaches actually go out and build the card themselves with local businesses, and they handle the production of the cards, and we get them in. We have the kids go out. Our goal is for each kid to sell 20 cards. We're still in the process of selling Terror Cards, so fans, if you're at home, if you have not gotten your Terror card, you can email me at the school. Again, my email will be in the description below, and we'll set up we've got a Venmo account. They can Venmo us $20 and I can mail out a card to them. But we really appreciate the businesses in our community supporting the program, but also the people who go out and buy those cards every year. We hear from a lot of people say, hey, look, I haven't seen anybody with Terror cards. Make sure those fans and those people in the community who want them, they get them. So just let us know if you haven't gotten one, you haven't been hit up by a kid, we'll send somebody your way.
Yeah, such a, that what builds this program is the community support. And this is an easy way of community. I love it because it pays for itself. I go to the porch at least once a week and spend my card, and that $20 is going to take care of itself pretty quick, especially when you're buying for the whole family.
That's right.
Coach, we got kickoff college football this season. How's LSU going to look?
LSU, I think LSU is going to be much improved. I think some people are out there laughing at me, but I think LSU is going to compete in the SEC West. I think they'll probably be right there. I think it'll come down to them in Alabama. I think they'll be the number 2 team up there, and if things work out for them, maybe they have a chance to beat them. But I think they're going to be better and much improved.
All right, fantastic. Got anything else for the crowd?
And just show out Friday night at 7:30. We got the Camden County Wildcats coming to Glenn County Stadium between the bricks. Everybody come out and support the Terrors and make a lot of noise, and we're going to get after it and have a great showing and represent our community well.
Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate you guys watching Terror Town Talk with Coach Rocky Hidalgo. Coach, I hope you guys have a good week of practice. With the weather we got this week, you're going to spend a lot of time inside, so hopefully you guys can be ready for it. Again, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Peachtree Pest Control, Island Ace Hardware, and Sapwell Equipment Company, for supporting this program. If you'd like your business featured on Terror Town Talk, see Coach Rock's email down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our Red Terror YouTube page. You guys have a wonderful day.
Good stuff.
All right.
Oh. Good stuff.
Good stuff. Not too painful.
No. Crazy.